To have you here all the way from Australia. Thank you for joining me.
No worries. Thanks for having me, Rachel.
So I want to start with, first of all, you've gone completely viral. Everybody knows your name, but before we get into why you're viral right now, I just want to hear what to me is more interesting as your upbringing and where you're from. Can you talk about what it's like to be from a tiny rainforest village in far north Queensland? What is that all about?
It's hot, it's humid, it's a tiny little town. It was fun. I grew up, it's like the country, but in the rainforest. I grew up in nature and with my big sisters and my mom, and yeah, it was interesting.
Amazing. So, how did you go from a little girl there to being someone that had such big ideas and so many things? Like, tell me a little bit about your childhood into like your teen years. What did you want to be? What interests you? Because I know you got into medicine. So, tell me a little bit about your childhood.
Yeah, I mean, well, I grew up with as my older sisters. We were on the beach front for a while in this little house. Because back then, it wasn't too expensive to have a house near the beach. And um, I always wanted to be like a big traveler and I loved singing, but I never thought I would do it as a job, like a career. Like I really never had that in my mind at all. I always wanted to do like sport or something like that or science. And then I don't know. It was more later in life that I got into music. But like my sisters were my role models. I always looked up to them. I always was a big dreamer as a little kid, and I always had it in my heart that I'd have an awesome life. And I just want to continuously manifest that.
Right. So, you obviously went to school for medicine. So, did you do that in Australia?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And why medicine? Was someone in your family a doctor, or what made you interested in that?
No one in my family is doctors. I just wanted to do something that would challenge me, and I like science, and medicine's a beautiful job when you can actually help and heal people, and it's rewarding and it gives back. And I wanted something that would really stimulate my brain and also my heart, and science attracted me to that. And I guess at the time, my family ushered me more into the academia rather than the creative pathways. Just, it's more financially secure and all that. So I did go down that pathway, and then I guess the two kind of met each other.
Right. So, just a little more on the doctor side. When you decided to study medicine, I understand you really like science, and that was part of your brain that you wanted to be in academia. So, did you want to be a certain kind of doctor, or like how did that path progress, and what kind of a doctor are you now?
I didn't really mind what type of doctor because I just wanted to work that out as I got older. I love the human body and the brain, and it interests me. Now I'm more into holistic medicine, so I love nutrition and I love natural healing, and I'm finding myself more and more in that area and in that space, like in a wellness sense, which I
Okay.
really love.
Right. But I read somewhere that you were in New York at some point studying HIV. Is that true?
Yeah, I was. So I was a med student, and I went to New York for a year, and it was like a research thing for
Hmm.
HIV and hepatitis. And that was also the year that I kind of discovered my real love and passion for music in New York.
Okay, well, tell me about that. What made you get into music there?
Yeah, it's a funny story. I mean, I started doing a few cover songs back in med school, just as like a low-key whatever thing for my friends. And my friend Grace bought me a microphone and just this little condenser mic, and it was nothing serious. It was very much a hobby. And then I went to New York and I met up with one of Shaggy's producers at the time, just out in the city one night, in New York, anything goes.
Yeah.
And he introduced me to a vocal coach, Craig Derry, and it was Craig that really inspired this beautiful self-conviction and this creative journey in me. And I also watched all these other amazing musicians and singers and rappers and soul singers sing and perform in New York, and I was so inspired that I just knew there was something building and brewing in my heart and my soul, and I just knew that I had to follow that.
So tell me about performing at Shaggy's house. I know that there's a story there.
Yeah, so one night I went to Long Island and met Shaggy and his producer and a couple of other guys working on a record. And I was just singing for one of his producers in the studio, and it was just, yeah, laid back. And he's like, "You have a great voice. You should see this coach." And I did. And after that moment, it was like my whole life changed.
So explain that though. So you're doing medicine, you're there for your Is it an internship or what were you in New York for
It
exactly?
was like a research year.
Research year. Okay. So, and then all of a sudden you're in Long Island, you're hanging out with all these celebrities, you sing for someone, and they're like, yeah, you should pursue this. Did you drop the medicine or was that your day job where you were making money? Like, explain that a little bit.
Medicine, I wasn't making any money, so I was like super broke, took out a student loan, like, doing all the things. Living in like my bedroom was a lounge room with a curtain, like the typical New York thing, but I didn't
Oh my
care. Like,
God.
I just wanted to be there. And like, I was so grateful to be there. I was this little, you know, rainforest girl there in this big, amazing city.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and the more I did music, the more I realized like medicine is kind of becoming less prominent, but still there. But I was trying to balance the both, and I could at the time because I was a student. I was researching, more in the day, and then I was doing all the music in the night time, and I was making it work.